Hello again, welcome back. So today I'm glad to finally be able to show you something I've been wanting to show you for a couple months now, is the Lego 4x4 X-treme. It is one of their rock crawlers that you can actually control, and that's a super awesome thing. Now one of the reasons why that it's been so long is because the kit was actually missing some parts. We started filming months ago, probably about 4 months ago. My wife was building it. Along the way, she noticed that there was a part we couldn't find, and we looked everywhere, could not find it. We're actually still missing a couple pieces, but they're very minuscule. So we had to go online and actually request for missing parts. And I've never had to do this before in my entire life ever working with Legos. Hopefully you've never had to deal with that problem as well. What made the situation worse was also human malware, because it took us easily a good 3+ months to get the part replacement, which hopefully nobody else would have to actually deal with that on a regular basis, because I can see how that would be off-putting for somebody who's just trying to start one of these builds, especially at the price of these kits. Let's say, you know, if a parent or a grandparent buys one of these for their kids and they try to build it and they're missing parts, you know, I can see how a parent or grandparent is going to be very upset by this. Anyways, so before I get into the build, I'm going to show you real quick on how to actually go onto Lego's website and actually request a missing part. You have to go into your owner's manual or your build manual for your Lego, and there's as you pan through it, it's going to have a parts list, and I'll show you that. So before I get into that, check this out real quick. Alright, so real quick, before we get into showing you how to order missing parts from online, I want to show you where you can find the part numbers for the parts that you're actually looking for. So start off with your build manual. Get the glare off of it. So here's the build menu for this guy right here. It's going to be all the way in the back. So let's just go ahead and jump straight to the back. And here's your inventory. If I can get a straight picture of it. So if you're really concerned about missing parts, go through all of this, because it'll give you the actual amount of what each part that you're actually supposed to have. So if you're concerned about making sure that you don't have all the parts, it's going to be time consuming. Just basically go through every single part number and make sure that you have the correct amount. In this case, I wish I did, because I was actually missing more than just one part. But anyways, so just basically kind of look through the pictures of what you're missing. So like for me was this part right here, that part right there, and there's a part number associated with it down below, and you'll use that and you'll give it to you'll punch that into the missing part registry online, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. Alright, so to order your missing Lego parts, just come on over. Once you go to the Lego website, come on over to the support tab, come on over down to replace parts, click on it. You'll have missing parts, broken parts, or buy extra parts. Mine was missing. Stop over here. Location, here's the location for me, United States. Set number, this is actually the number that's found on the box itself, or it's found on your instruction manual. And here's my build. Here's the X-treme 4x4 off-road, and you'll type in the part number that you find in the back. Unfortunately for me, they did not recognize the part number that I had, so I had to go to can't find what I'm looking for. Put in the part number here, a brief description of what it is, add it to the bag. If they have any other further questions, they will send an email out to you. They contacted me. I had to give them a picture of the part number that I was looking for. Once you're done with that, your info, confirm, and then check out. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully you will never have to actually do this process, but if you do, they have made it super easy to actually get your replacement parts. And there we go. Well, so hopefully you don't have to go through the same thing I did to try to order a missing part. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever had that issue, so hopefully you won't have to deal with that. With that said, I'm going to show you the video of my wife assembling it, and you'll see like just how difficult that I'm going to talk about the difficulty a little bit later on of some of the intricate parts of the drivetrain and differential and so on and so forth. So here, check that out. Alright, so after watching that, just to kind of give you an example, it's kind of hard to put into perspective how our build time was. I think Lego posts the build time for it about 8 hours, I think, and I think that sounds pretty fair for the build time on it. I could definitely concur with that. It was hard to put that in perspective because of how long the wait was from the time we started it to the time we finished. Otherwise, the build time would have been about like 3 or 4 months. Difficulty, me and my wife are not master builders of any kind or anything like that. We probably consider ourselves pretty average. So she probably put the difficulty at probably about an 8 or 9 out of a 10, and that's pretty much only because of the drive line, the differentials, the actual working axles itself. So it's just a little bit on the little bit more difficult side. So definitely, if you're going to buy this for somebody, buy it for somebody that's been into Legos for a little while. I definitely wouldn't recommend it as their first one, especially because of the price of it. So with this Lego Technic, It's the first one that's actually where you can actually control it remotely. So normally with the Lego Technics I'm used to, they'll have a battery pack and there's a little lever. You turn on the battery pack and there's a bunch of like little levers for gears and stuff like that to perform different functions. I've got a tow truck. I've also got a crane. And usually you just control it on the vehicle itself to do the different functions and whatnot. So this one is actually controlled remotely, but it's not what you would think, like they would come with the actual remote that I've seen on some of them. This one, you actually download an app from the App Store. It is called their Lego Technic Control app, and it uses Bluetooth. It'll sync up with the vehicle. It actually even downloaded their firmware, and I'll show you here in a second. It's actually very nice, and the module itself is actually got a telemetry sensors in it, so it actually can tell you if the vehicle is leaning forwards or backwards or even side to side. It'll even show you that on the app. It's very cool, so check that out real quick. Alright, so here we have the Lego Technic app. As soon as you first open it, it's going to give you this carousel of different vehicles that you can control. I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to select it. Just going to bring it up. It's going to ask you to press the little pairing button on the back. There's a little green button back here. It's going to start flashing. Connecting. It's connected. Then it's going to set up. It's going to calibrate the steering. Calibrated. Vehicle's complete. It's going to give you a quick walkthrough on how to control the vehicle, like your throttle. Looks like it's just a little lever. It goes up and down. Continue. And you can control your steering. Next. And now we want you to combine it. So what we'll do next, we'll get you into some little action of this thing, and that's where we'll take it from there. One more thing before I forget, before we go on to the next step. So it's actually got a little telemetry sensor that'll actually show angle changes. So if I lift it up, same thing side to side. It also has a little tachometer on here as you're going forward or reverse. It even shows you which gear you're in. So as you can see from the app, it'll even play sounds. It has sound effects for like an engine revving up when you're going forward or reverse, and it's got that nice little tachometer deal. It's a very nice interactive setup. With that said, I set up a little bit of action deal just to kind of show you some of the abilities that it does have. So check that out.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
So as you can see, it does have some capabilities. A little lackluster for my taste. That's only because of I'm actually trying to compare it to an actual remote control car vehicle. For me, it's a little underpowered because there's lots of potential there because of the suspension travel front and back, plus the fact of articulation that it does have. There's a lot of potential there. I just think it is a little underpowered for my taste. That's probably purely subjective, especially compared for the price, but it's not a remote control car. It's a bunch of plastic bricks that are able to be driven. So, but that's not to say that you couldn't change it. So I'm pretty sure there's something that you could look on the Lego modder community, a way to either change gear ratios or add more motors to it, or to increase power, something like that. I know there's got to be a way to do it. So I might be doing something like that in the future. See if I can find a way to modify it a little bit. Maybe even put like some actual remote control car parts in here and try to beef it up a little bit. And that leads me into basically my thoughts of it. This thing is actually pretty awesome. With the telemetry sensors, the detail, for me, it's awesome. It's like I said, I've never used the remote control car feature for a Lego, and I think that's where it is throwing me off, is because I'm used to just having the functions on the vehicle, and now that I do have remote control for it, I'm trying to compare it to one of the remote control cars, especially like one of the higher ends that I have, which is kind of close to the price of this thing. But I can definitely tell you, for kids of all ages, I think especially if you're into any kind of four-wheel drive or Legos itself, you're not going to be disappointed. This thing is absolutely awesome, as long as you get all the parts. Hopefully you won't have to run into that, because I'm still missing parts. So even on the overhead lights, I guess the roll bar lights, if you would call it, so there's actually 2 Lego pieces right here still missing. I'm pretty sure I could dig some up somewhere in my stash of Legos, but that's not the point. The point is the fact that they are missing from the kit. So that is still very disappointing. They did tell me one of the reasons why that it did take so long to get some of the parts was because of human malware. And a lot of these people are working in junction from doing emails and the warehouse from home. So I mean, as long as it's not like that on a normal basis, other than the fact that there's human malware going on. But other than that, it is a nice setup. I think that's all I got for this vehicle. Me and my daughter gonna go finish playing with it some more. So hopefully you like this video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I shall see you in the next one. Thank you.